Continuing on with our JPR review, we'll hit JPR number 8. So we'll now go over in detail the steps to success on JPR number 8, which seems a lot more involved than it is. So we'll break this down into steps. This skill station is a team exercise in which you'll perform various product control tactics learned throughout the semester. You'll notice that there are 8 product control measures listed. They're listed A through H. Let me address a common misconception before we move on. You will not have to individually perform each of these 8 skills at the station. Rather, you and your partner or partners will be given a scenario by the proctor, most likely a chemical release or fluid release of some sort. It'll be up to your team to decide the appropriate control measures off that list to mitigate the spill. So you may find yourself doing several of them, but most likely not all. You'll most likely encounter one or more areas requiring protection in your scenario, such as storm drains or open waterways. That's where you will then plan and implement the various tactics, damming, diking, diverting, and so forth, to protect those threatened areas and ultimately retain that product. I highly recommend reviewing your product control chapter materials in order to demonstrate your understanding of the product control methods and develop a good plan on your practical exam. Although it's not a mandatory state JPR, this is one of the most commonly drawn skills for your state practical test, so be prepared. So invest the time in understanding all 8 of these concepts and how to implement them. When it comes time to perform the tasks, always err on the side of verbalizing your plan alongside the performance of the task. On any fire service performance eval, live by the idea that if I didn't say it, it didn't happen. Verbalizing things lets the proctor know that you understand the concepts and avoids any confusion about the skills you've demonstrated. Remember that the state tests to the JPR, so demonstrate as much knowledge of the JPR content as possible. So once you and your partner develop and verbalize your plan, you'll then perform the skills. All tools and equipment will be provided at the skill station. You'll accomplish the tasks using those tools provided. So this is one of the rare occasions where I would recommend staying in the box. Don't overthink it. Don't make it any more complicated than necessary. If you have shovels and dirt available, then you know that you're building your dams, dikes, diversions, and retention ponds with dirt and shovels. You're not looking for any extra materials that are not provided. If you have other absorbent materials available, then they may work within your plan. Dirt is essentially compatible with everything when it comes to absorption and adsorption, so be sure to verbalize that compatibility. You'll notice on the task steps, it lists using common available materials. This is almost always on your operations level eval going to be dirt. So your station will be set up somewhere where there's dirt accessible. When you're executing your plan, you'll construct these product control measures in order to control that spilled product. Always verbalize the critical criteria of avoiding contact with the hazardous material. You'll see it listed as B on each of these 8 categories. Make sure that you're actually avoiding contact during your evolution, but be sure to verbalize it as well so that the proctor knows what you're thinking. During the construction of your control measures, you can absolutely amend your plan and adapt on the fly. If your dam fails to stop the material on the initial attempt, build another one downstream. If your retention pond overflows, build another or add on to it. The goal of the station is to demonstrate your understanding of the ops level product control measures. You are not being graded on whether your initial plan holds up. Adaptation is good, and it will always benefit you on test day if you can articulate a plan A and a plan B, along with verbalizing all those criteria of the job sheets. This JPR may involve a bit more memorization than others, but being well versed in the 8 product control measures and options will help you explain and execute your plan for the state proctor. So to recap, you'll have all 8 product control measures available to you, but not all will be applicable. You'll choose as a team which measures to implement based on the scenario given by the proctor. If vapor dispersion or dilution are not applicable to your scenario, then you're not responsible for performing those skills. You'll be told at the station which ones, based on your scenario, which ones you'll be implementing. A liquid spill is the most common scenario drawn, so make sure you're very well versed and completely comfortable with performing the concepts of damming, diking, diverting, retention, and absorption. So to review the JPR, you'll notice at the top you have your 8 options listed. Should you be given a scenario where a remote shutoff valve is available, then verbalize that to your proctor that you're at least looking for one. They're most likely not going to give you something as simple as going up and shutting a valve. They want to see you demonstrate these, but it never hurts to say, first I'm going to try to locate a remote shutoff valve to stop the flow of product before I go on to retaining. Notice in the performance outcomes that you have to complete at least 24 of the 30 items correctly. So each of these checkboxes counts as a point. Like I said, some will not be applicable, so those won't be held against you should you not do dilution or vapor dispersion on your given scenario. But with that accumulation of points, your goal is to get at least 24 out of 30. If you're familiar with all these concepts and you're able to articulate a plan amongst you and your team could be 2, 3, 4 people. You won't be doing this solo. If you're able to articulate those things that are on the JPR and perform those skills and accomplish the product control indicated by that scene, you'll pass this with flying colors.